Ready! Scutum Talite! State! Transformer!
Romans are here for about 360 years, and it takes them 40 or 50 years to get up to this part of Britain. They virtually give up their attempts to conquer Scotland, and then that's it, more or less, for the next 2.5 to 3 centuries. Just a whole load of permanent forts here. It's the edge of the Roman world. It's just the garrison at the end of the known world, if you like.
Would any of the soldiers actually have been British?
Oh no. The one great thing about the Romans with their armies, they realised if you hired local troops and based them locally, you could have actually been hiring your own resistance and equipping them. So normally you'd take units from the provinces that you controlled and you put them in other parts of the army where you could control them.
Yes!
These are really tough men who are used to very considerable hardship, all sorts of discipline, and the Roman army came down like an absolute ton of bricks on any mutinous troops who decided they'd had enough of this.
Down! What happened when they were too old to fight?
The provincial auxiliaries served for 25 years and then they got their reward. They became Roman citizens and then they had a status in life which would be passed on to their children. I think quite a lot of them would have been inclined to stay in the vicus around here.
So in these houses there may well be people who are descended from Roman soldiers?
Oh, around here in South Shield?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure of that, yeah.
If they are, that's as close to Romans as our residents have got. Their test pits are all still empty. At least the children in the local junior school near the fort have got some archaeology in theirs.
Do you think you're actually into Roman layers here?
No.
No, why not?
We haven't really found anything. We found some slate.
Oh, and that pottery is quite modern, isn't it? This is probably Victorian as well. We need to try and get below all of that and just see if we've got Roman even further down, because that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Phil, I can't believe this. You only had a couple of pieces before lunch.
In Trench 4, Phil's flow of finds has turned into a flood. But the story is still settlement, not cemetery.
I mean, look at this. We got this loads of same in us. That's probably my favourite. It's nicely decorated.
Actually, it's not that wonderful, you know. If you look at the rosettes, they're very worn down and it's got that rather smudgy orange colour. I think this is East Gaulish, you know, late 2nd century, early 3rd century. It's come across from the Rhineland.
Well, they're notable for their crappy Samian.
Well, actually, they weren't very good at it, and it's not that. It's quite distinctive, actually, but it's a good date, though.
And then we've also got these colour-coated, which I love that sort of decoration.
Yeah, that's one of those little beer drinking beakers.
Beer drinking?
That's right.
I approve of that, yeah.
But this one, I think, has come from the Nene Valley, Cambridgeshire, near Peterborough,
right.
That sort of area.
And then we've got more roulette in as well.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That colour makes me think this is from North Gaul.
Yeah?
So quite, yeah. You know, what's really interesting about that is it sort of shows all the trade routes that have gone up here. I mean, we know the place was a port, don't we? So a lot of this stuff would have been shipped in up the East Coast or across the North Sea.
Among the finds turned up by Victorian builders were a number of skulls, all of which show signs of trauma. That's wounds to you and me. Even a supply base like Arbea would have seen its share of frontline action, and the actual wounds have been intriguing our bones experts.
We've got these skulls, and a lot of them have got cut marks on like these. You can see caused by a very sharp blade, and another one there, and another one there. These are obviously inflicted when this poor bloke was down on his knees, probably, by somebody who was in a bit of a frenzy of killing. And there's a lot of evidence of that. But this one's probably the most unusual one of all, because you've got this depressed fracture, where the bone is still attached on the inside. And you've got the signature of the weapon that actually caused that here. So we're experimenting to see if we can actually establish what type of weapon caused that signature.
It's not clear whether the wounds were inflicted on Romans or by Romans.
You can see what it's done. You can see that it's crushed the bone there, and then there's a fracture leading up here. So we are starting to get these radiating fractures coming out, but it still doesn't look like that, does it, Margaret?
It doesn't, no. My money's on this, Tony. I think the only thing that's the right sort of size with enough velocity to cause this sort of damage is something like shot or a stone even that would have actually impacted like that.
Slingshots were used by both local Britons and the Romans. That does look pretty plausible.
It does,
doesn't
it's quite convincing, I think.
Close. In Trench 3, put in to look for the northern limit of the cemetery, Bridget had produced our first possible sniff of a burial, the feature which might have been a grave cut. Damn,
Yes, I'm afraid so.
it's not a grave cut, is it?
No, it isn't, but then I was right. I said it was a natural feature, didn't I?
Yeah, but this is the third trench with nothing in it, isn't it?
Well, I'm not as dispirited as all that. We've looked at a reasonable area. It's clearly nothing here. So now we follow our strategy. We move on and in.
But realistically, we're 2/3 of the way through day 2. When we hadn't found anything at all at the end of yesterday, I thought, oh, well, it's kind of frustrating, but time is ticking, isn't it?
Well, it is, and if we don't find something soon, I'm going to start getting worried.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we're following a strategy.
Where are we heading?
Well, we're heading to the next trench, which is closer to the previously discovered cemetery. By the time we get to this trench, we're only, 30 metres from where the cremations were found before.
John, you've done the geophys?
Yeah, we're still having problems trying to see through all this Victorian rubble. I mean, you can see it in the radar here, the red and yellow. It's when we're going deeper into the ground that things are needing investigation. This is what we've looked at here. OK, it turned out to be a coil of metal wire.
Great.
But it's the only way we can evaluate things. You know, we've got some superb targets, I think, on the other side of the digger, over there, and I'd like to look at those.
So this trench will now be extended, and every metre we go means a metre closer to the known burials.
Put your shoulders into it.
What's the Latin for a wuss? That, I have to say, he was hitting you much harder than you were hitting him.
Yeah, well, you know, he's got a bit of advantage on me, I think. I'm not quite used to this.
You were a little bit girly with your whacking, weren't you?